goes quite a quick question. Senator Abetz.
Chair, thank you very much. I've just got a very quick, brief topic. A matter that was brought to my attention by a staff member of Finance, and can I ask what's the protocol with flying flags in the Department of Finance and in the foyer?
We'd adhere to the, sorry Senator, I might have to take that on notice, but we'd adhere to the government guidelines in that regard, and I believe I have someone here who may be able to help me.
Michael Hirschfeld, First Assistant Secretary, Business Enabling Services. We follow the protocol set by the Flag Protocol Unit in PMNC.
Right, and so flags that are associated with political campaigns or active community campaigns, are they flown in the foyer from time to time?
I don't know whether it's my position to determine whether or not something is a political campaign or not.
Well, that begs the question, what is the protocol about flying flags in government buildings, and on this one for the Department of Finance?
So the PMNC protocol specifies flag protocols for the flags that are flown outside the building.
Outside the building, not inside the building?
Not to my knowledge, but we can check that.
Not for the official foyer, so in that case, if it's not the PMNC guidelines, who determines the guidelines? Or can anybody from the public plant a flag in the foyer of Finance? I assume that's not the case, so somebody must have that heavy duty.
Yes, Senator, I think there's no sort of protocols as such in respect of inside the building, but clearly it would be a matter for the Executive Board in terms of what happens inside the building.
Surely the Executive Board, do they meet, to determine what flag is to be flown of a morning?
The Executive Board does meet very regularly on a range of issues. I can't say that I can recall any sort of flag issues ever being raised at the Board, but as would be the normal arrangement, we meet fortnightly.
Yeah, and I can say that nobody has ever raised any flag issues with me, so I'm not aware of any flag issues. So if there is any concern in relation to flag issues, might have been useful for that to have been raised.
Well, the member of the Finance staff that has raised it with me is concerned because they imagined that it would not be the Minister that would make that determination, but possibly the head of department or somebody else within the department as to what flag. And look, to cut to the chase, there was the rainbow flag on display in the lobby, which, believe it or not, some people see as an activist flag for a particular cause in relation to an issue of whether or not we should change the legislation on marriage. And some people, of course, support that cause, others don't. But I was just wondering what the protocol was within the Department of Finance, because if that is allowed, then one imagines the Marriage Alliance banner should be flown equally. I'm sorry.
Didn't say anything.
No, I know you didn't say anything, but I saw the way that you reacted to that. If you allow one side of a debate, then you need to allow the other side, and that is why I sought to determine up front who was responsible for making these determinations, and it looks as though we don't have anyone. So can you take on notice who is actually responsible, with whom does the buck stop, who makes the actual decision as to what flags are flown? So, for example, when the Israeli Prime Minister was in town, I understand we didn't see the need to fly the Israeli flag in the foyer of the Finance Department. So who makes the determination as to what flags are exhibited or flown in the foyer from time to time?
Senator, I think I've already made the point that in terms of what's inside the foyer, that would be a matter for the Executive Board, and I can certainly raise this issue within the Executive Board at its next meeting, and we can discuss the way in which we'll
Well,
manage
if
this
you
in the
could
future.
then provide me with the copy of the relevant minutes of the Executive Board that made the determination in relation to the flying of this particular flag, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
I'll seek to do that, Senator. Thank you.
And look, just for what it's worth, by way of some slight humour on this issue, this particular flag, you will realise, is the flag of the Gay and Lesbian Kingdom of the Coral Sea Islands that declared war on Australia. And you, Senator Cormann, would understand this. They did the same as Prince Leonard of Hutt River Province. And now this is their official flag, and of course it's the flag of a hostile nation, if we are to believe them, having declared war on Australia. But I dare say that wasn't the reason it was flown in.
Last weekend, his son has taken over. That's right. But look, Senator Abetz, as the Secretary has indicated, there'll be a flag inquiry. And we certainly don't want to be... There'll be a flag inquiry, and we certainly don't want to... It's certainly not the government's intentions in any of our official buildings to fly the flags of hostile nations.
Very good, very good.
So we'll make sure that there will be no flags of hostile nations anywhere in any government building.
Excellent. And then the other thing is to ensure that there aren't flags that are identified with certain political campaigns that might upset members of the staff of the Finance Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Abetz. Senator McAllister.
Thanks.